Welcome to Focus Israel. Like in the rest of the world, the news in Israel this past week has been dominated by the earthquake disaster in Haiti. Israel's defense forces have experienced rescue workers on constant standby. A team consisting of 220 men and women were thus among the first to arrive. A field hospital was erected where closer to 100 surgeries have been performed and 5 babies have been delivered. The first baby that was delivered was a boy, who was given the name Israel by his parents as a way to express thanks for having been saved by Israeli soldiers. Several hundred people have received other emergency care. The ultra-Orthodox rescue unit Saka was also quickly on the scene and saved 8 people from the rubble during the Sabbath. "We proudly break the Sabbath to save lives," they explained. The size and effectiveness of the Israeli rescue effort has received attention in many parts of the world, except in Sweden, where it has been completely ignored. The newspaper Dagens Nyheter even deleted a photo from its website that showed Israeli soldiers saving people from the rubble. Israeli soldiers, or rather the mandatory military service in Israel, plays a relatively unknown role in the strong Israeli economy. The journalist Saul Singer recently published a book about this called Startup Nation, together with his colleague Dan Senor. Saul Singer lives in Jerusalem. His and Dan Senor's book Startup Nation is on the New York Times bestseller list and has created headlines around the world. One of the conclusions that they draw in the book is that the experience of military life give young Israelis tools that promote entrepreneurship. I recently met Saul Singer in his home to speak about how other countries can learn from the Israeli model. So how can other countries duplicate the Israeli model without the same unique conditions?
Well, that's an important point because we're not saying that every country has to militarize itself in order to become entrepreneurial. First of all, there's another huge factor we talk about is immigration, that Israel is a country of immigrants. And Israel is also perhaps the most pro-immigration country, in that the politicians here have actually campaigned for office saying that they're going to bring in more immigrants, not less. So we think there's a very close tie between immigration and entrepreneurship because immigrants are risk takers. They move from one place to another. That's taking a huge risk, and that's a natural connection to entrepreneurship. So one thing we say to, say, Americans and other countries is be more pro-immigration. Another thing is that maybe there are other frameworks aside from the military that can give the kind of leadership and teamwork skills and mission orientation, and also thinking more about something larger than yourself. That's another thing you get in the military that you don't necessarily get in university. That these kind of frameworks can be created outside the military in terms of national service programs and other programs that aren't military but give you a sort of a military-like experience from the point of view of entrepreneurship.
What do you think is the biggest difference between the historical Jewish success in business and today's Israeli success?
Well, we do talk somewhat about the connection between Jewish history and Israel. Of course, Israel is a Jewish country, so there are many Jewish cultural aspects that feed into all this. But most of the book we focus on different Israeli-specific things that weren't so common to Jews in the last 2,000 years in the diaspora. For instance, the military aspect and the migration aspect. These are Israeli, not so much Jewish, but there are Jewish aspects that are important. For instance, there's a Jewish tendency to be argumentative, to like to debate, to challenge authority. All these things. This comes from, you could say, from the Bible all the way from Abraham challenging God about stone. People who will argue with God will argue with each other and everybody else. And that kind of argumentativeness is something that you see in the high-tech scene, and I think is part of the kind of secret sauce that makes Israel innovative.
We end this week's Focus Israel with pictures from the rain in Jerusalem. All of Israel has been blessed with powerful and persistent rainstorms this past week. Because of the severe water shortage, the rain is a cause for great joy, but it has also caused material damage to roads and bridges, and at least one person has been killed in flash floods in the Negev. My name is Paul Whedon, and that's all from Focus Israel for today. See us again next week.